and you put on speaker, would it pick it up?
Yeah.
Do you like scary movies, Curry? You can like, what's your favorite scary movie? And you can scream or something. Too cheesy?
I'm just recording all of this.
Oh my gosh!
You were the chosen one!
Always hold on to small.
Avengers,
Assemble.
This dude recorded me trying to come up with a good intro, but that's the intro. Y'all, we today are about to rank my favorite horror franchise of all time, Scream. Love this franchise to death. My first horror film that I saw in theaters was Scream 2, I believe in 1997. I think I was around, 7 or 8 years old, second grade, and saw it by myself, sat by myself. So I love Scream. Curry, are you ready to rank my favorite franchise in the horror genre?
And for me, I saw the last 30 minutes of the first Scream movie on TV one time as a kid, and really, so I saw the twist, but I really liked it.
Yeah.
And then I saw like the last half of Scream 3 on it, and I was like, oh, okay. Which we'll get into some of that later.
Yeah.
I borrowed them from a friend and rented the ones he didn't have and watched through all these this year, like back to back in a week, watched all 5. And I'm not a huge horror fan. It's not that I'm against it or anything like that. It's just it's got to be really clever or really scary or really good for me to like it.
You haven't seen The Conjuring. Be quiet.
That's true. I dug these movies. They were great. So, yeah, let's get into it, man.
All right. So we're going to go, as always, from our least favorite to our most favorite. Now, the caveat, unlike our Star Wars ranking where the movie at our last place we didn't care for, we didn't like. I actually like all 5 Scream films. It's just that something has to be at the bottom. So, that's my caveat.
We're going to do 5 through 3 and talk about them a little bit, and then we're going to do our top 2. And so you want me to go first?
Go first, buddy.
Okay, so at number 5, I have Scream 4. I like Scream 4. I thought it was cool that the franchise came back. It was Wes Craven's last film.
Yeah.
And the twist at the end was really good.
Yeah.
But originally in that one, it was supposed to be that, you know what, let me tell you guys now, there's going to be spoilers in this video for the Scream franchise.
But we also don't mind because y'all have had enough time to watch these films.
So just spoiler warning from here on out, just so you know. I just want to be nice and say that.
All right.
But
He's nicer than I am.
When the killers are revealed and it's who it is, what's the actress's name?
It's Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts.
Yeah.
When it's revealed she's the killer, and she basically wins. And then they end up beating her in the hospital, and she still becomes famous at the end. In the original script, she was supposed to win, and Sydney stays in a coma, and she was going to be in the next movie, and it was going to continue the story there. And I didn't want Sydney to die necessarily, but I wanted it could have really changed up the franchise and sent it in a new direction where we follow the killer as the main character. And that idea just kind of intrigued me. But at the same time, I also get why they made it a little bit safer. But the movie is also full of more modern day cliches, characters making bad decisions, and it feels a little cheaper than some efforts, but I still really like it. At number 4, I have Scream 3. Ironically, Scream 3 tries to comment on the threequel problem and ends up becoming part of the threequel problem. Scream 3 is better than people give it credit for. What I really appreciate is that Ghostface is an absolute savage in that one, and they actually fight back in that movie. I get so tired of the trope where people don't fight back. Dude, if someone's coming at me with a knife, I'm gonna do everything I can to survive.
Exactly.
Right? I'm not just gonna scream and get stabbed.
Yeah.
But it's also, it doesn't have the deep commentary that the other ones do. Characters make really, really bad decisions. They make Dewey an absolute moron in that one. When he tries to shoot, he falls off the cliff because he's clumsy. Stuff like that. It doesn't have the depth of some of the other ones, but it's still really entertaining. But it also has one of the worst lines I've ever heard in a movie.
What?
So the whole movie's about...
Somehow Palpatine returned?
It's worse than that.
Somehow Ghostface returned?
Basically. But you know the movie, it's Stab 3?
Yeah.
The movie?
Yeah.
Well, when she goes to kill the brother at the end or whatever, she'd already stabbed him twice. And she goes, what was the name of your movie? Stab 3! And stabs him again.
I love it. It's it's 2000s. It's literally the year 2000. It's early. It's endearing.
Doesn't make it good. No, it's
It is endearing. Go ahead, Sydney. Get your stab on.
No.
Yes.
At number 3, speaking of, 5 Scream 5, Scream 5.
Oh my gosh, you see what I have to deal with?
Scream. I hate the title for this movie.
It's amazing.
It's dumb as dirt. It should have just been called Scream 5.
Don't listen to him.
Title aside, I appreciated that this was a back to basics, let's comment on film culture, but it doesn't just comment on film culture, it comments on fan culture. And that to me was genius and really clever, almost too clever at times. They almost leaned too hard into it at certain points where it's like the meta-ness just got to be like, oh gosh, okay, this is a lot. But the twist genuinely got me. I thought they found a really compelling main protagonist, being the daughter of the first killer or whatever. And I didn't love the treatment of the legacy characters, which we'll get into more. I think you'll probably talk about that, so I won't take all of your thunder. I didn't love that, and I'm nervous about where they're going to go from here. But I still thought it was better than people gave it credit for.
Yes. All right, so good stuff. Listen, I love this franchise so much, I don't even need to look at my ranking. Let's go. Number 5, Scream 4. Listen, I love Emma Roberts. If you have not seen the show Scream Queens, it's on Hulu, I believe. She kills it in that role as well. Emma Roberts was an amazing addition to the Scream franchise as Sydney's, I believe, niece. Also, not just that, but also Kirby, Hayden Panettiere. Great. I'm glad that she survives, which in Scream 5, yes, Scream 5, she is revealed to still be alive after the events of Scream 4. And she is going to be in Scream 6 coming out next year. Can't wait for that. But Scream 4 was great. Emma Roberts at the end, when she has to pretend to be attacked and she's trying to cover her tracks as the killer, and she runs into the wall, she stabs herself, she throws herself onto the table. She's crazy, and I loved it. So Scream 4 was good. It just wasn't as good as the other movies. And the production, the way that it looked was weird for me.
It had that more modern digital look, and you could tell Wes Craven was better with the filmmaker.
Yeah. I didn't care for that, but overall, really liked it. Number 4 for me, Scream 2. This might surprise some people because I think Scream 2 is probably a little bit higher for people. I loved it, don't get me wrong. I thought it was very, it was funny that they leaned into the whole trope of black people dying first. That was good. They killed 2 black folks within 10 minutes. And the way they killed them was inventive. It was creative. It was actually good. It roped me into the movie. It made me commit to the movie. I love that part. The killers was great. Yeah, Scream 2 was just good. I love that it take place at college. It just wasn't my favorite, but I still really loved it. My number 3 is Scream 5. I actually thought Scream 5 was really good. What I did not like, let me address what I did not like. I did not like how they treated Dewey. Scream 5 was really a Last Jedi feel for me, but it was still better than Last Jedi. But killing,
and they reference it, which is great.
They do reference The Last Jedi. But Scream 5, the way that they treated Dewey, killing him off the way he did, I thought it was cheap. I thought that it was a cheap kill to, as they say, and this is kind of where they kind of lean too far into the meta-narrative, is that, our movie has stakes. Our film has stakes, which is why they killed Dewey. And I think behind the scenes, it was revealed that Courtney Cox and David Arquette, who play Gale Weathers and Dewey, didn't actually want him to die. They actually asked for him to be spared, and they pulled a Rian Johnson. They still killed him. Same thing with Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi. It was stupid the way he died. Anyways. Besides all that, I loved the new characters. My goodness. And the 2 black characters survived the film. I love it. But yeah, I love the twist. I love the killers. Amber and Richie. Amazing killers. Their lines, when they reveal themselves as the killers, their lines are amazing. Sydney, when she's like, okay, I've seen this movie before, it's boring. I'm hanging up. Don't you hang up on me, Sydney. I loved it. It was so good. Yeah. So good. So, Scream 5, overall, great movie. I believe I gave it 4 stars or 5 stars.
I give it 3.5.
Okay, so, I'm a little less critical.
If it hadn't done the modern legacy sequel thing of we have to deconstruct and tear down old characters and make them failures to make them feel relevant, I just don't think you have to do it. You don't have to. And
also, breaking up Dewey and Gale.
Again?
That happened in Scream 3 and they got together.
Yeah.
It's a Princess Leia and Han Solo all over again. There's no reason to have have them get divorced. It's just
Hashtag Dewey deserved better.
Gail deserved better.
That too.
Like, I do like that Sydney married Mark from the cop from Scream 3, who was
That's who she married?
played by Patrick Dempsey. Yes, that's her husband, Mark.
Oh, I missed that.
Yes, so that's pretty cool. And Sydney's happy. I also don't like the fact that she won't be in Scream 6. Pay the woman what she's worth. She is the Scream franchise, just like Laurie
If you
Strode
don't have
is.
Sidney Prescott, what's the point?
Just like Laurie Strode is the Halloween franchise. So, anyways, all that to say, those are my 5 through 3, and now we are at our top 2. Curry, take us there.
My top 2, and I'm gonna get into some stuff you're probably not ready for here.
Here we go.
At number 2, I have the original Scream. Great movie, changed horror movies for the better. The commentary and like making fun of other horror movies while creating its own style of slasher is just absolutely genius. However, the film ironically still leans into too many horror cliches with the stupid decisions that the characters make that make it harder for me to buy it as this realistic commentary on serial killers and like if this actually happened. And I don't know if that's part of just when the film was made and it hasn't aged as well, or they just still needed those tropes for it to happen. However, the twist is really good. I wish Stu's like motivation had been more fleshed out.
Oh, bro,
like he's great. Don't get me wrong.
He's
but, like,
amazing.
Some of the kills don't make sense either.
Like what?
Like I get why they killed. Like they don't really go into why they kill their friends and stuff, but
because they're just psychopaths.
and they kill the principal. I guess just because they don't like him.
It's a principal. It's a '90s horror film. The principal's the villain. Is the a bad guy.
The problem I have with these movies is it inspired copycat killers. Now, obviously, we live in a sinful world, right? And,
right.
I wrote in my review on Letterboxd that it's a shame that unstable people see this and decide to become a copycat. That's not the movie's fault, but can it contribute? The answer is probably. And that's why mental health is so important, as is the rating system that comes out. This was rated R for a reason. It makes one wonder about the irony of the line from Scream. Movies don't create psychos, but they just make them more creative. And that's exactly what this movie inspired. So it does make me think, like, how do you create content like this and not inspire people? What kind of warnings should there be? And does that make it problematic in the end? I don't have definitive answers to all that because I still like the movie, I still enjoy it. But it does make one think. However, that also kind of makes the movie more genius in some ways because the movie is also trying to comment on those things as well as horror as a genre as a whole. I just wish it didn't rely on as many tropes as it did to make fun of said tropes. So, but it's still a great movie. One of the best twists, I think, in horror cinema ever.
Yes.
And the two killer twists, just absolutely genius.
So good.
Absolutely genius. So good. And do you want me to go and do my number 1?
Do number 1, buddy.
At number 1, I have Scream 2. This one just worked for me. It dialed back a lot of the like cliche stuff from the first one. The college setting I feel like made more sense for like the freedom of all the characters and like what they were doing and engaging in. The cleverness is a lot more subtle in how they approach like the sequel problem, like the opening discussion in the classroom at the beginning. I went to film school. I've been in classes like that, and so it was like being vindicated for like it was just cool. Like I could relate to that. Yeah. And immediately I was like, Timothy Olyphant's the killer. Really? I knew. I was like, he's the killer. Now, then the film plays with you and you're like, oh, no, I don't know. Like, it's somebody else.
I forgot he was the killer.
Yeah.
I forgot he was the killer until the end. And I was like, oh, snap. Yeah, I guess he is crazy.
And it does go, like, where the satire does still go too far. Like, two characters randomly stop. Like, two characters are doing this, like, big investigation that could get killed in any second attack and they just stop to have sex. I'm like, okay, come on, Scream. Like, come on. And the cinematography is still really good. It's not quite as good as the first Scream, where that was almost like a recreation of Halloween in a lot of ways, because the cinematography of Halloween is incredible. Yeah. But it's still really, really dope. And I really appreciate how every character grows in this movie. The arcs are a natural step forward from Scream 1, and the twists are even more clever. The film knows from the opening scene that you will probably guess Timothy Olyphant is the killer. And it plays with those expectations. So when they do the twist that it's Billy's mom, dude, I was floored. I mean, I could not believe, one, they got me with the second killer twist again, but I had absolutely no idea, no expectation that this like mild-mannered reporter throughout the whole movie had such an agenda, and it got me so well. And of course, when Timothy Olyphant comes back, he's just crazy, and they're just like, boom, 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 boom. That was a good point. It was such a good twist, and it was such a good commentary. Like, revenge is always the motivation for a sequel. And
it works that it's the mother. Yes. That makes sense. That a mother will go to great lengths to save or vindicate, vindicate her son, her child. So it made total sense that she was Billy, and then again Timothy Olyphant was Stu again.
Yeah, because he was just a psychopath.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was genius, and like they met online in the early days of the internet where stuff like that can be monitored.
Yep.
Again, it kind of, there's more murders in real life that happen following this one, but the film kind of plays into that and like how the effect of these films can mess with people that are mentally unstable or just, you know, need more help, and or maybe shouldn't be watching this kind of content, and go online. And it could be problematic that the film comments on that, but the film also smartly stays away from making any kind of statements about that. It just uses it to inform its killers. And I thought that was clever in doing it in a way where it's like not being disrespectful to reality, but also using it in a way that makes an entertaining movie.
Yeah. All right, listen. So a part of the reason that Scream 2 is your favorite was one reason why I love Scream 3. Scream 3 is my number 2. This might shock a lot of people because of all the rankings I've seen of the Scream franchise, Scream 3 is usually last place. And it's the one that's maligned the most. I love that it's Billy, Sidney's half-brother, who's the one who got Billy's mother to attack her. Because it does tie everything together. It was Sidney's brother, I think his name's Billy. Or Roman. It's Roman.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
It's
Roman.
said Billy's the killer from the first one.
Billy's
You said that,
the-
and I was like,
It's Roman. My bad. So Roman, Sidney's half brother, is the one who gets Billy's mother to attack her in number 2. So he's the mastermind behind a lot of this. I actually really like that twist. I love the last fight between Sidney and Roman, and the fact that even as she's dying, the moment where she holds his hand, it's still like your family, even though you did some really jacked up stuff and tried to kill me like multiple times. Yeah, and you got other people to try to kill me. She holds his hand, and that's a powerful scene to me.
yeah.
And the scene where she's in her cabin home, which I don't know why she lives out there by herself. She's a brave woman. I wouldn't have done it. But when she's dreaming, she sees her mother come in ghostly form. That was actually terrifying to me still. She's like, Sidney, and she's like dreaming about her
I
mom.
forgot about that.
And she's at the window. It's it's a very scary scene.
Yeah.
Even at 30-something years old, I was like, this is a little creepy. And I was watching it at night by myself. And I'm like, it's kind of creepy. She's like, Sidney, why didn't you help me? You let me die. And it was pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
But for me also, I loved Cotton Weary. The way he dies. And his girlfriend. And, you know, I love the fact that Ghostface now has the voice changer where he can change his voice into other people. So Cotton's girlfriend in the very beginning is in the home alone, and it sounds like Cotton, but then it changes into Ghostface voice. And
I was kind of sad that Cotton died because I thought he was a really cool character.
he was even in number 2, he was really good
because like he was falsely accused and all that. Like I thought that was good like commentary on that. And what I appreciate about Scream 3 is I mentioned that the killers, like, what are their motivations? The motivations were they just needed somebody to enable them. And Scream 3 provides the explanation, like, why did all this really start? Was it really random? No. It goes back to those family ties that and dysfunctional family trauma that created all of this. And I find that compelling.
Which is why I think that the Scream 1 through 3 is really the main trilogy. It's really the main story. It's really it's the Skywalker saga of the Scream franchise. Because let's be honest, we know the Skywalker saga is really episodes 1 through 6. Let's be honest. And then 4 and 5 is more the epilogue. Just like 7, 8, and 9 is more the epilogue. All that to say, I'm still excited for the new ones, but Scream 1 through 3 are really the main story of Scream for me. Everything else is just a cherry on top. But Scream 3 is my number 2. I really loved it. I loved Dewey in it. I love that him and Gail got together. And I just thought the entire movie was really, really good. And I like Mark, the cop that Patrick Dempsey portrayed again.
Yeah.
I thought him and Sidney had good chemistry together. My number 1, though, which is pretty common on YouTube, it's The Empire Strikes Back, so to speak, of the Scream franchise, The Revenge of the Sith of the Scream franchise. Scream 1, the original Scream. I mean, do you like scary movies? And Drew Barrymore's in there popping popcorn. That first kill was brutal. It set the tone of the film. Having the parents go out and see Drew Barrymore dead was an iconic scene. Scream 1 just had it all. Dewey, Gail, and Sidney, a great trio. But man, I love the killers. Billy and Stu. One of my favorite parts of any horror film is when Sydney escapes at the end and she has the voice responder and she calls them. And Stu asks, after Stu's been stabbed, because Stu and Billy stabbed each other. And that was a funny scene. It was a weird scene. But I love when Stu asks Sydney, are you really gonna call the police? And she's like, you bet I am. He goes, my mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me. And he starts to cry, and it's the funniest thing. Oh, the best part though, one of the best parts of the entire franchise is when Billy, the actor who plays Billy, is really into, he's like, I watched the interview about this scene, and he's very much into the scene. He's like invested, and he tells Sydney, I'm coming for you. And he takes the phone and he throws it at Stu, and it hits Stu in the back of the head. That was not scripted, that was impromptu, and it literally hurt. So when he goes, why'd you throw the phone at me, you? And he cusses there. That was a real reaction. He was like, he's the guy who plays Stu, Matthew Lillard, I believe. Shaggy, yes, Scooby-Doo. We got to do that ranking. But yes, he goes, that really hurt. It was not in the script that he was supposed to throw the phone at me, so that was a real reaction. So I thought that was great. So overall, Scream 1, my favorite scary movie of all time, horror film.
Yeah.
At least so far, and it's actually my top 10 favorite films of all time, which is a ranking we will be bringing you one day. So, as you can see, I'm very passionate about Scream. I love it. Can't wait for Scream 6.
Did you watch the TV show?
I haven't.
I haven't either. Maybe we can talk about that one day.
Yeah. I'm down to watch it.
I don't know anything about it.
I don't know too much about it, but I'm down to watch it. Like,
cool.
it's Scream. So,
what is your ranking of the Scream franchise?
Yes.
What are some other franchises, horror, or anything that you'd like to see us rank and talk about? And me prove to Lamont that my rankings are always better as usual.
We love y'all. And we hope that you guys are having a great October, a great Halloween season. It's actually my favorite holiday, which is funny.
Pagan. Want to play a game?
That's all. No.
You were the chosen one!
Always hold on to small.
Avengers,
Assemble.